The Karabakh crisis takes Russian lives. One soldier wounded in Sunday's fighting has died. NATO General Secretary Manfred Werner is in Moscow discussing relations between the North Atlantic Alliance and Russia. Erich Honecker is taken to Moscow's Bodkina clinic for care. Today is the birthday of the Patriarch of all Russia. Good evening. Today in Karabakh, a Russian soldier died. 2 others are in critical condition. Helicopters cannot evacuate the wounded because of bad weather, according to our correspondent in Stepanakert-Khankendi, Mikhail Zotov. Mikhail does not have the technical opportunity to send us a report, but our director has managed to put together a report from the events from information coming to Moscow. The Interfax news agency, quoting reports by the Azerbaijani Foreign Affairs Ministry, reports that artillery and rocket attack has been fired on the cities of Shusha and Khodzali. The Grad rocket launchers have shelled Shusha with 100 rockets. There are people killed and wounded. Armenian sources say that 150 rockets have been fired on Stepanakert. Casualties are reported. The 366th Mobile Infantry Company encamped in Stepanakert came under fire from rocket launchers yesterday. 8 were wounded and 2 killed. The officer corps of the 366th has sent an appeal to the Russian government demanding criminal prosecutions of those who opened fire and killed the Russian soldier. The personnel are dissatisfied with their commanders, who are observing neutrality, while Azerbaijani units are attacking both the peaceful population and the military units who are not participating in the conflict. Who can give a guarantee that the line of non-interference in national conflicts will not be shifted by unforeseen escalation in the conflict and mass seizures of modern weapons? If the desire for compromise has been extinguished on both sides of the conflict, then what is the price of the lives of Russian soldiers who find themselves in the crossfire? So far, the officers and the men are collecting funds to help the families of those who died. A short historical excursion: on February 25th, 1974, Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous District received the Medal of Friendship Between Peoples. Today in Stepanakert, rescue efforts continued. The results of yesterday's barbarous attack from Shusha were announced. CIS troops deployed here came under fire from 150 rockets. 10 were killed, including 3 military personnel. 30 residents and 10 soldiers were wounded, 2 of them critically. In total, 1/2 of all the buildings and houses in Stepanakert are partially or completely destroyed as of today. We have just received reports from the regions of Ubatlov, Zagellana, Lachina, and Tertera, where Armenian mercenaries are beginning a large-scale attack from Armenia into Azerbaijani territory. Tanks, artillery units are taking part, along with helicopters, large units of forces, and we have reason to believe that the 7th Army deployed in Armenia is participating. We note that this is very far from Nagorno-Karabakh. This is a new front in battle being opened in Azerbaijani territory. Azerbaijanis are concerned by Marshal Shapachnikov's remarks on the tragic events about the 366th Mobile Infantry Unit stationed in Khankendi. Today, no one here doubts that former Soviet units are participating in attacks against the Azerbaijani population. The press center of the Commonwealth Armed Forces reports today that local Azerbaijani authorities are accused of abetting the armed bands which attacked our military. TASS and the staff of the Transcaucasian Military District says that soldiers have been authorized to put down sources of firing on our soldiers. Gamsachordia supporters are broadening the partisan fighting in Abkhazia. They have exploded 9 bombs on the railroad between Moscow and Tbilisi. Armed forces of Georgia's provisional government have been withdrawn from Abkhazia. These guardsmen are no more. They have died. One in the attack on the presidential palace, another during the curfew, and a third very recently in western Georgia. They died along with many other sons of Georgia The National Guard, which brought Ziad Gamsahurdi up to power, has virtually disappeared. Many have gone into the underground or into other diversionary activities. These, however, are loyal to the principles which brought them together in the first place. Politicians and the political passions have calmed down by morning. These boys from the St. George Battalion of the National Guard are moving into the underground of crime. The National Guard is made up of completely different people, but there is a new wave of volunteers who are fighting on their favorite streets of Tbilisi. The Military Council of Georgia is preparing an order to call up to the Guard new draftees to restore the good name of guardsmen, to return the trust and the love of people. We remind you that on the black market you can buy for a large amount of money a guardsman's uniform and a Kalashnikov rifle. In this city of Zvodsk, not far from Tbilisi, 87 firearms were confiscated last night. We have sufficient force, and I believe that everything will be calm within a month. Every night in Tbilisi, shots ring out. More alarming news from South Ossetia. Tskhinvali was fired on today from the surrounding Georgian villages. Reserves there of food, medical supplies, and fuel have run out. The bread factory has stopped, and for 2 weeks there has been no reliable transportation with the outside world. The shortage of food, the energy and information blockade are not the only pieces of evidence on the situation here. Several volunteers from Russia have come here, supposedly to defend their southern borders, as Tskhinvali comes under new attack from Georgian villages around it. The level of crime in the city is increasing. The negotiations going on are seen as a measure of trust between the sides. Therefore, the South Ossetians insist on observing the main condition of negotiations, the removal of the blockade, and respect for the leadership of South Ossetia. The government is often called in the Georgian media illegitimate or self-appointed. The South Ossetian Supreme Soviet passed a declaration expressing its support for the Georgian Provisional Government, that while the Supreme Soviet of Northern Ossetia agrees that negotiations with the Provisional Government are needed. The spiritual leader of Karachayev Muslims, Imam Bijilu Muhammad, has called for observance of law and the rehabilitation of repressed peoples. Speaking at a Moscow press conference today, he said that in Karachayev there is a general meeting demanding a republican form of government for the people of Karachay within the Russian Federation. The Imam said that in the current autonomous region, 62% of the population are Karachayevans, and the rest are mostly ethnic Cossacks. Despite the different faiths, they said they believe in peace and good relations with the neighboring Christians. President Yeltsin met today in the Kremlin with representatives of the Russian Association of Large Families. This public organization was created only a month ago, but is already has subsidiaries and foundations in 40 cities of Russia. Its main task is the social protection and support of families with many children, especially in the transition to market economy. Of course, many serious issues were raised today, including the fall in the birth rate, the high infant mortality, and the difficult situation in which families with 3 or more children find themselves today. The Russian president said that we must raise the prestige of the family institution, especially those with many children. A main role in this should be played by the law on the family, which should be adopted by the Russian parliament. This law will express the problems which the association is concerned with. From yesterday's reports on the conflict between demonstrators and the police in Moscow, you could get the impression that after the conflict, the battlefield was littered with wounded. Our correspondent spoke with the Moscow authorities today and learned that no one was hospitalized. However, 21 policemen were injured, along with some civilians. The media, both ours and the Western media, have characterized the events as inflexible and incorrect behavior on the part of Moscow authorities. The Minister of Press and Information, Poltoranin, today became the Vice Premier of the Russian government. He will still have responsibility for media issues. President Yeltsin believes this nomination will strengthen the Fourth Estate. The sociological service Мнение, Opinion, has released the results of its research on the opinion of Muscovites toward monetary reform. Over half of those questioned favor monetary reform, and 61% favor a new currency only for Russia. Will Russia sell weapons? Will the price of oil and petroleum products stay as it is or rise? Are we threatened with unemployment? These and many other questions were answered today for foreign and domestic journalists by the new economic minister, Andrei Nechayev. He said that the government of Russia is considering the possibility of freeing prices on petroleum products by the end of April. But other prices will also be